All right, Nick, let's talk about the Ohio State Buckeyes. Big make or break year for the Buckeyes. I think they have to put it all out on the line. And I think we have an update showing there's one player in particular that if he's getting play time right now in this big of a situation, he's got to be pretty good. I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. As I alluded to, Nick, there's a guy that is really surprising, doing a lot of really great stuff, and showing that he's going to get a lot of play time this season. Let's get into the article. We can talk more about this on the other side. This, of course, from over on Scarlet and Game. It says, one of the players who should get a lot of playing time is true freshman Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver. Smith is getting a ton of hype as a young player, and that hype should only increase based on what he's able to accomplish this offseason. According to current Buckeye Devin Brown, Smith became the first true freshman ever to win the Iron Buckeye. That means he is an absolute freak in the weight room and worked hard to make sure that his body was ready for the college game that he's about to step into. The Ohio State football team is going to make sure that they get the ball to him as much as possible this fall, even though he won't be the top receiver right away. He very well could develop into that by the time next year rolls around. He's going to be a big issue for defenses to contend with. Nick, I think the key here is that this guy has come in and he seems 1,000,000% prepared. I think what he's done here is very impressive. I'm curious what your thoughts on this are. But before we get to you, Nick, Buckeyes fans, in the comment section below, we see a freshman come in who's really done something that's quite impressive. And it's surprised me, to be quite honest. I'm curious, though, in the comment section below, have you had a freshman come into this program that really blew you away? Is there someone that you really like coming in as a freshman who just did something that absolutely knocked your socks off? Let us know in the comment section below. But nonetheless, Nick, what do you think about Smith and what he's done so early?
So first and foremost, obviously, when you get a guy who grades out on 24/7 Sports, I had to double and triple check this, right? Because the numbers are just bonkers, right? On a 1 to 100 scale, theoretically, Jeremiah Smith grades out as a 101. Right. So when you've got a guy with that high of a grade and he's already off to a strong start, it kind of just validates, okay, we knew this guy was a very highly talented guy, an incredibly highly talented guy, one of the best recruits at the wide receiver position to come out of the high school ranks in some time. But recruiting rankings and just high school film, that's always just one thing, right? You want to see this guy do good things, get into a program and off to a great start. And I think this is proof that he is, right? And this is sort of kind of living up to the hype or maybe justifying the hype. And obviously, with a great like Marvin Harrison Jr. no longer with the program, there is a little bit of an opening at the wide receiver position. And I think Jeremiah Smith's a perfect guy to come in and help fill that. And I think what's very interesting, and look, people who watch this channel, people who know me, I'm a big history buff when it comes to football. And I find it very interesting that 24/7 Sports paralleled Jeremiah Smith with Julio Jones. His comp was Julio Jones, formerly of the Alabama Crimson Tide. If you look at what Julio Jones brought to Alabama, he literally, when he arrived, just and immediately became a big-time playmaker, and within 2 years had Alabama back to winning a national championship. Now, obviously, he wasn't the only guy, but he was clearly a superstar player that added an extra dimension that really carried them over the top during kind of an era where Alabama's offense wasn't really the strength of the team. I kind of see Jeremiah Smith potentially having a similar kind of impact, right? Because look, we know this Ohio State defense, they're going to be really good. But last year, offensively, certainly at the quarterback position, they had some struggles. This year, I think it'll hopefully be a little bit better, but the Big Ten's a little tougher. College football playoff format's obviously different with 12 teams. There's going to be some new challenges for Ohio State trying to figure everything out. I think Jeremiah Smith getting off to a strong start and having a big impact could be just the perfect thing Ohio State and Ryan Day needs to kind of reset and recalibrate and going back to competing and winning for national championships. I would not be surprised at all if Jeremiah Smith has a Julio Jones-like effect for this Ohio State offense and gives them maybe, I hate to say he'd be better than Marvin Harrison Jr., but maybe just as good of a weapon for this offense. I think that's how good he could be, and he's off to a great start.
Yeah, Nick, and you talked about it. We all know the physical specimen that Marvin Harrison Jr. was at Ohio State. Did a lot of really great things. But you look at him, you see what he is right now, 6'4", 205 pounds right now, playing the NFL for the Arizona Cardinals. That's pretty impressive, but to me, it's crazy that Jeremiah Smith comes in here at 6'3", 215 pounds. He's got 10 pounds on Marvin Harrison Jr. as a freshman coming into college. Like they said, that this guy, the Iron Buckeye, he's worked himself out in the weight room, done a lot of really impressive things here. I think that's great for the Buckeyes, and I think you're seeing it in the results here. This is a guy already as a freshman who's in fantastic physical shape, got 10 pounds on a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's going to be a really physical wide receiver in that aspect as well, but he's a great playmaker. And speaking of playmakers, I think it's going to pair nicely with their playmaker as a quarterback in Will Howard, another guy who really has shown a lot this offseason with his legs. He showed his speed. He's very impressive in that aspect. Did a lot of that kind of stuff at Kansas State. So I think him paired with Jeremiah Smith, you're going to have playmaking phenomenons all season. You're going to have Howard come out, extend the play. Jeremiah Smith do some really impressive stuff, get loose, big time plays. Like they said, may not be the top target to begin the season with, but I think as the season progresses, this guy is going to be an absolute star for the Buckeyes.
And just to end on this just speaks to Smith's just incredible talent level. Marvin Harrison Jr., again, I had to double check these numbers, came out of high school as a prospect, incredibly highly touted. They graded him 24/7 did as a 93. That is obviously really, really good out of 100, right? Jeremiah Smith, again, to keep hitting this home, graded out as a 101. I don't understand how that math works out, but I think it speaks to Smith's incredible talent. The fact that he's off to a great start helps justify that. And I think, look, you look at a new offense, new quarterback, new structure, new everything for Ohio State. Jeremiah Smith, I don't think he's going to have a slow start. This is where I disagree with you. I think he's going to come out the gate and have a big impact right away. I think there's no reason not to think that Ohio State has the next great wide receiver in college football in Jeremiah Smith.